Hey there everyone, Dr. Beth Westy here. I'm going to talk about exercise and weight gain. Exercise and weight gain. There's a lot of stuff happening in the world, right? On social media, all the things right now. I'm going to keep sharing the message that I share because it is a message that is helpful to women. If you find that the information I share just is a lot overwhelming because there's so many things going on, great. Or if you find like, this is a nice refreshing break from some of the other things, awesome too. I got stuck in a little rabbit hole today of some things, right? I was like, oh, holy cow, right? It's a lot, right? And I have to do the thing where I just recenter myself, rebalance, refocus, and kind of keep going. Okay, what's my mission here? What are my values? What's important to me? And this information, sharing this information with women. A few things just to know about whenever you're taking in information from somebody, realize, are they somebody who's knowledgeable, right? Have they done research? Do they have experience, right? Research isn't the thing that trumps everything, right? It's not the one card that I did research. Oh, okay, great. Would you have experience with this too? So I will share stories about women that I've worked with, about my own personal experience. I do this all the time, especially in my podcast, The Female Health Solution. I talk about stuff that I've gone through with my own health and what got me started on this whole women's health path. Ovarian cysts, right? That's where I started from when I realized everything is set up for the male body and not the female body. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yay. That's fun to learn. I maybe that was the first time I actually got in like a rage-filled rabbit hole. I was up at 2 a.m, and at this time, I had babies. I had a preemie, a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old. Well, they were probably 1, 3, and 5 around this time. Yeah, probably 1, 3, and 5. Yeah. So I had little kids, and I am up in the middle of the night looking stuff up, researching things, realizing, oh my gosh, all these recommendations that I'm trying to work for my body, oh, it's set for the male body. Oh, good. No wonder why nothing's working. Sweet. So here we are. Fast forward, here we are. So when I talk about this, again, whenever you're looking at information out there, it's not just about research. It's not just about yes, do your own research. Yes, look at your own things. Yes, read opposing sides. That's a whole different thing. It's one thing to constantly look at stuff like, oh yeah, this backs up what I was thinking before. Great. But if you read opposite information and you're like, okay, this seems true as well. Does it? Okay. Right? Like that's something to look into. And then talk to people who have experience, because that's a whole different thing. So for example, exercise and weight gain, right? If you were to say exercise and weight gain, what? No, exercise is supposed to help you lose weight. That's what happens with everyone. They start going to the gym and they immediately drop 10 pounds. Boom. Oh yeah, that happens for men, right? One of the first times I was introduced to this exercise and weight gain piece, I think, I must have been I think it was in high school, and we started lifting weights for volleyball. And I remember getting real excited about getting real arm muscles, right? Because I played, volleyball, basketball, did track, all this stuff. Never really lifted, right? It wasn't a thing for girls back then, 25 years ago. Oh my God, I'm so old now. But when I started lifting, it wasn't even super heavy lifting, right? It was just, I remember putting 5s on the end of the bar and doing incline bench press. Ooh, right? Ooh, okay. It wasn't anything real big, but I was excited about the muscles I was getting in my arms until I remember I put on one of my favorite shirts, and it was not a stretchy t-shirt. It was a button down, cute, so cute, so cute. It was blue and it had flowers on it, and then I would wear my puka shell necklace. Oh, so cool. But it was a tight shirt. It was cotton and it had a fitted sleeve. And I remember being oh no, right? I was getting arm muscles and I was like, oh crap, my shirt doesn't fit. I'm getting big, right? Getting big. And I was worried about that. And then the weight gain that came along with it. I think I gained, who cares? I don't even know what it was back then. But but I definitely know that I put on more muscle and everything else. But I definitely leaned out, right? And that was from high school. Same thing happens then in college, beyond, all these things. I remember grad school, I had a group of friends, they were so excited. Oh, we're gonna run a marathon. We've been studying so much, we're really sedentary, we are not moving enough, so our solution to this is we're gonna run a marathon, right? What comes along with running a marathon? All the training. What's all the training? Lots of exercise. This running a marathon and doing all the exercise is going to solve the problem of the weight gain, right? Yeah. So they started training, right? This whole group of it. I did not run a marathon. I don't enjoy the running as much. I try. But it wasn't my thing, and I was like, meh. Plus I was like having babies and stuff in grad school. But they did the exercise, they did train for a marathon, ran a marathon, all this stuff. And I legit remember, because I can't remember if it was a 10-week thing or 12-week thing, running a marathon. It was weeks, right? Months of running and training that you have to follow this protocol that they signed up for. Okay. But halfway into it, they were all like, yeah, I've gained a little bit of weight. I've gained like 5 pounds. I gained like 7 pounds. Like, I feel good. I feel stronger, but I've definitely gained weight. Ugh. Maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe I'm putting on more muscle. Were they weight training at the same time? No, of course not. Put on muscle, right? Okay, sure. And then they kept thinking, okay, I'll keep running more, because the more I run, the more I'm going to burn fat and burn calories, right? See, I'm doing air quotes there. Burn fat and burn calories. The more I run, yay, here I go. And then that's going to help me lose weight then. Oh, I just got to keep running. I got to run more. After the marathon was done, after they're done with the marathon, they had all gained anywhere between 10, and then one of my friends gained 17 pounds. Yeah, gained. Every single one of them gained. Now, one of my friends gained 10 pounds. She did not necessarily look that different. You couldn't tell like a difference, and like her clothes still fit about the same. Another gal who gained 10 pounds, a friend of mine. I remember it so well because it was so striking to me how this was so different for them. Another friend who gained 10 pounds, you could tell her clothes really were not fitting her anymore. All these are, and then again, 12 pounds, 15 pounds, 17 pounds was my other friend, gained 17 pounds. Running a marathon. And she's like, I don't understand. What the hell? Like, what happened? And it wasn't until later I realized, like, oh, because if you're over-exercising and not fueling your body correctly and not giving your system the rest that it needs and not actually getting your system to fat burning, which is different in the female body than it is in the male body, if you're not doing it correctly, right, you will actually gain weight with more exercise. More is not better here. More is not better. And there's women that I'm working with right now in my 12-week challenge where I tell them sometimes, okay, you have to taper back or stop altogether, or let's really add this in. And if we do add it in, I want at least 2 rest days in between you doing something with higher intensity or whatever, because it matters for your body. And why does it matter? Cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone, and it reacts totally differently in the female body than it does in the male body. Oh, great. So great to know this. Yes, right? You know this now, right? Wish I would have known this 25 years ago. We know it now. But this is why with more exercise, you can gain weight, right? This is the piece that you're missing. Now, when I work with women, I actually tailor and create a specific protocol for before, during, and after workouts, whatever workouts they are for you, whatever you like to do, whatever you're training for, that type of a thing. So you are supporting your body completely when you are doing any type of training or performance, so that you're not having an increase in cortisol and you're not going to have that weight gain, right? Okay. How do you know what your cortisol levels are? Oh, such a good question. I'm so glad you asked. Well, this is one of the things that we test with Dutch testing. I'm going to put a link right there in the comments where you can click the link, learn more about Dutch test, about what it is. It's a dried urine test, and it tests for cortisol levels here. Cortisol throughout the day. Free cortisol, which is in your system, bioavailable, that your system uses, that you should have enough of, and then your metabolized cortisol, which tells us what your total adrenal output is. And oftentimes, this is an example here, these two do not match. That's a problem. That's a big problem. That means that your system is not matched and it's not producing the cortisols and using the cortisols in balance. What does that mean? Well, it can mean several things, but oftentimes for women, it leads to ba-dum-bum, weight gain. Yeah. And you're like, I don't understand. I'm working out more. I'm running more. I'm running a marathon, and I'm gaining weight. What the crap is this? Rah! Yeah. So here's a quick little diagram of how cortisol starts to rise in the system with exercise. Because again, more is not always better. And especially for women that have hormonal issues, I actually tell them very specific parameters. Limit your exercise, limit the intensity, limit what you're doing. Make sure you have enough recovery time in between because it matters so much. Because your body's hormones are already on the fritz, and that's a lot of heavy lifting internally that your system's already doing, right? So, say you're doing some type of warm-up, right? Okay, warm up, get the body loose, get some mobility, flexibility, all the good things. Yes, here we go. Okay, boom, workout time starts. Yes. For the first 30 minutes, your body can pretty much manage, cortisol levels pretty fine, right? No big deal, right? And then this happens for everybody, all humans, right? This is a thing. At about that 30-minute mark, your cortisol levels will start to rise. Yes. So yes, this means if you are taking an hour class, 30 minutes, it starts to rise. Yes. That means if you're taking a kickboxing, cycling, running, I don't care what it is. If you are doing a consistent thing, 30, and is this healthy? Yes, exercise is healthy. Absolutely. So much benefit for your cardiovascular system. Super duper. But in terms of cortisol and the weight gain piece of this is where we need to tweak or shift things to actually see the benefit that we want. So at the 30-minute mark, your cortisol starts to rise. Yeah. Oh, and then at 60 minutes, you have a lot of cortisol in your system. Okay, great. So, but what about fat burning? Sure, women can get to fat burning during a workout. Do we stay in fat burning the rest of the day? No. Nope. So what are you left with? High cortisol levels, and your body then kicks into fat storage. That means that the foods that you're eating, you store. Oh, fun. Where are you getting all that energy then? Oh, your body likes to do this really great thing of actually attacking your muscle tissue, breaking it down, and using that. So the muscles that you're trying to build to make you stronger, to make you leaner, to make you faster, all that stuff, it's harder to build lean muscle then. This equates to you working out harder, being sore for days, having a hard time recovering, being exhausted from it, and feeling like, crap, I can only work out once, maybe twice a week, but I can't even, if I try to get back to the gym, I'm just so exhausted. I can't wake up in the morning. I'm having a hard time getting to my workouts, all these things. You're not being lazy. You're not being unmotivated, right? It's not about discipline. It is about your system having the wrong cortisol levels, and it's not repairing, and you're fighting a big uphill battle, right? You're fighting a really big uphill battle. So then what do? We shift and change things, right? Address this issue. Working with your system, sometimes adaptogens are helpful, depending on the person. Sometimes implementing some sugars, electrolytes, right at this point, can actually curb and mitigate that stress response. Oh, you mean that's it? Yeah, that's it. Oh, you mean like a little snack or something? Or like making sure that if I'm drinking some electrolyte, a little bit of sugar, doesn't take a lot, a little bit of sugar. Oh, maple syrup, right there. You mean that can curb that so I won't kick off my cortisol and I won't go into fat storage? Yes! So easy! So easy, right? Yeah, who doesn't love maple syrup? Come on, it's so good. But then in terms of the exercises that we're doing, more is not necessarily better. Do you need to do 60 minutes all the time? No. Do you need to have like the utmost intensity? No. No, you don't. Do you need to do some type of weight-bearing activity? Yes, weight-bearing activity is really, really important for women's health, for bone density, for muscle strength, for muscle growth, all that stuff, and metabolic rate overall throughout the day, right? But it's harder for women to build muscle. It's harder for the female body. If you have questions on that, I've done other videos on that on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Beth Westy. But this is a big piece. And then doing some cardio, sure. But if all you're doing is cardio, again, you're going to be working against yourself and just having more weight gain. So what's the right answer? Is there a magic thing to do? No, there isn't a magic thing, right? The recommendations that I will make are actually individualized because your system is going to be different. Are you in adrenal fatigue? Do you have a history of fibroids or endometriosis? Are you in menopause? All these things matter to how and what and why you would exercise. Do you have a goal? Do you want to run a marathon? You know, for funsies. Is that fun? Is that fun? I don't know. But if that's a goal of yours, absolutely, there would just be different training things, nutrition tactics, and really allowing your body the time frame it would need to train to not have those increases in cortisol. Ooh, good question, Nancy. How much maple syrup? Like add it to your water? Yes, you can add it to your water. They even make little maple syrup in like little pouches, like a couple tablespoons. Not a lot, right? Some people use honey sticks or something like that. The best fuel though is literally maple syrup. Organic maple syrup from the mountains. I don't know. My husband's from Vermont. It's like the maple syrup capital of the States. When I met him, side note, I remember it clear as day, because I'm from Minnesota. I live in Minnesota. We don't do that here. He had maple syrup in like a gallon jug, like a growler. And I remember like the first time I hung out with him at his place, and he just like walks in his kitchen and opens the fridge, very casual, like pulls out this jug, and I was like, oh, is that juice or something? He flips the lid open, throws it over his arm, and just syrup, maple. Nope, he loves it, drinks it like it's water. Apparently everybody does that. There. I learned a new thing. That's a thing, apparently. But that's what you can do, so you're welcome. You're welcome to just swig right off of a gallon there. Or they do have it in little pouches, little to-go pouches. And you can also add it to water, right? You can like add that and electrolytes and other things to water, totally. Angie Living said, yay, right? Yay, this is my friend Elizabeth Benton's sweatshirt. Dagny Foundation, yay. So there's no wrong way to do it. But so anyway, recently it was his birthday, and I got him some maple sugar, some like actual maple sugar, and it came in like this little pouch, and I caught him in the kitchen. He was like dumping it into his mouth. I'm like, what are you doing, babe? Anyway, so getting some of those sugars in, you could do that. Add maple sugar to your water to dissolve it a little bit. You don't need a lot, but just a little bit of sugars and electrolytes is going to mitigate that cortisol response, so that it's not rising and that you keep your system from going into fat storage, right? Little thing makes a huge difference if you're doing longer workouts, right? For whatever reason. Otherwise, again, a lot of gals are like, you know what, I'm okay, or I'm gonna, get more breaks during this class. I love this class, but I'm gonna take little breaks, or I'm just gonna make sure I have something to help that, to mitigate that response. That really does help shift and change not only your energy throughout your workout, you're gonna finish your workout stronger, you're going to have faster recovery times, and you're going to be able to get to and stay in fat burning without attacking that muscle tissue. It's like a win-win-win all the way around. Seriously. That combined with, again, getting enough protein pacing, all those other things, makes the biggest difference. So again, it's like women, we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to exercise. We're trying to, X, Y, and Z. It just is so frustrating when you're like, oh, what the crap? Why is this, I'm exercising, why is this not working for me? It's because you're exercising like a dude would. And if you have male physiology, cool. But if you have female physiology, it's important that you address and acknowledge some of that. Now this does change, and I do make different recommendations throughout the cycle, right? If you're in one phase of the cycle versus the other phase of the cycle. Those are things that I, really work with women on. My book, The Female Fat Solution, is on Amazon. Talks about nutrition that matches the hormones in the cycle. If you're more curious about some of the exercise with hormones in the cycle and planning your nutrition timing with your fitness routine around that, I can do another video on that. Just drop in the comments, let me know. But this is a really big deal, especially for those of us who are like, oh, I've been really busting my butt and I'm not seeing the progress I want. Why? Cortisol, because of cortisol. So, all right, that's what I got for you guys tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if you have any other questions. But again, just, keep on keeping on with what you're, keep making one step forward, one step forward. Sometimes when you get stuck in a spot and you feel like, good Lord, what else? Like, nothing is working for me. And you feel really frustrated, and it's super easy just to feel like, well, crap, now what? Now I have to start over. Now I have to, you know, all these things. And yesterday I talked about, especially with the Dutch test, you know, there's payment options, there's things like that, but it's not a test that insurance covers. And your health insurance isn't really for your health. It's sick insurance. It's when, you know, like I compared it to car insurance, right? If you need an oil change, you pay out of pocket for that, right? My car insurance doesn't cover my oil change. I'm actually getting an oil change tomorrow. Right? And it's the same type of thing. To keep and maintain your body in its best health, a lot of that usually is an out-of-pocket expense. Like real best health. If you know what I mean. Right? So it's one of those things, like when you do invest in yourself, when you do learn these things, when you learn more about what your system is actually doing with its cortisol levels, and you start to make these tweaks and changes with what you're doing and where your goals are, everything just kind of falls into place, and you're like, oh yes, thank goodness. And it then becomes worth it because you're finally on the right path. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm here as a resource for you, of course. And again, let me know if you want me to do a video on that stuff. Drop it in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you later and have a great night.